5, 4, 3, 2, 1. However, the existence of human rights, the very characteristics of these rights, was not discovered or forged in 1948. These rights have existed ever since the advent of men and women. They have been in evidence ever since the quest for equality began, a quest that transcended race and religion. Indeed, human rights are intricately linked to the evolution of human society. The sages of ancient India realized the importance of human election to the state assemblies and every election, even to the local self governing bodies, brings us face to face with the serious shortcomings in our electoral system. These shortcomings are not confined to the time and process of elections. They have a direct bearing on governance and on the functioning of the elected bodies. If we take the accumulated experience of governance at various levels and the functioning of our elected bodies in the past few decades, we see how the infirmities in our electoral system have greatly weakened Indian democracy. The common people are the ultimate sufferers of flawed elections and the bad governance that results from them. Such governments lack the capacity to deliver on their promises to the electorate. This is the main reason why the political parties and the entire electoral exercise have less credibility today than before in the eyes of the voters. The resultant apathy and cynicism are not good for our democracy. Indian democracy thus exhibits a worrying paradox. On the one hand, we take legitimate pride in the fact that India is the world's largest democracy and that its preservation is our greatest achievement since independence. It is also true that at no time does the vibrancy of Indian democracy become more manifest than during elections. Yet, on the other hand, it is the may weaknesses in our electoral system that have impaired our democracy the most. Removal of this paradox is the greatest task before us as we get ready to face challenges and opportunities of the 21st century. Electoral reforms, therefore, must become a matter of high priority for the entire country and especially the political class. The national agenda for governance, which my party and our alliance partner have jointly adopted as the basis for our government, has clearly stated our commitment to implement electoral reforms. Personally speaking, this has been my area of concern for a very long time now. Political parties can approach the people at large for fund election collection, but elections cannot be fought on that alone. Now, money bags have to be trapped for the election of most candidates of all parties. By law, companies cannot donate to political parties, but political parties can collect funds. Obviously, this is number two money. There is no accounting of this money. The Joint Select Committee of Parliament had accepted the recommendation that an expert committee be set up for this. This is, however, not done. In 1990, the then Law Minister had prepared an amendment bill proposing extensive amendments to the Representation of the People's Act. Those proposals represented a consensus between all the political parties. It is true that some of those proposals have been given effort effect to in 1996, but many remain unimplemented, including the proposals related to election expenditure and state funding of candidates. My government has taken the exercise of electoral reforms seriously. We appointed a committee on state funding of elections under the chairmanship of Shri Indrajit Gupta. This committee has recently submitted its report. The law minister made a reference to that report in his speech. I am happy that Shri Indrajit Gupta is invited to the seminar to preside over the session on election expenses and state funding of elections to be held tomorrow. To facilitate free and fair election, the Election Commission has published certain guidelines. There is a demand that the government give statutory status to some of them. Effective implementation of these rules of conduct depends upon the good sense of the political parties, sense of discipline on the part of the administrative apparatus, and the willing cooperation of the public at large. The proposal of the Law Commission to introduce a list system of election, which is also known as proportionate representation, for an additional 138 seats of the Lok Sabha is a welcome step. I say so because the system of first past the post is mostly a gamble. It does not always represent the people's will, especially in a multi party system like ours. Facts prove that in most constituencies, the winning candidates gets elected on the basis of a minority of the votes cast, resulting general nationwide misrepresentation. Many of our parties represent democratic opinion of specific sections of our society. However, their share in the election bodies does not always correspond to their vote share. This creates a sense of non involvement among them. This requires a correction at the earliest in our electoral system.